And we welcome you to another edition of Overseas Dimes with Q. As always, I am your host, Rich Quinones. Do not forget, you can get social with us. If you've missed a couple of the shows, that's okay. Don't front. We're on demand on the YouTube channel. We always like to say, first and foremost, a hello to our very good friends chiming in on Channel 82 in Bermuda. Check them out and get locked in. As always, if you're new to the show, it's a rapid fire, fast paced show. We like to talk about those making a difference on the floor, off the floor. Tony Eackles Jr. Talk about well traveled, doing it all over the place, playing ball, giving back to the community, starting teams up, mentoring the young kids, and well traveled. And he's kind enough. He was telling me before we came on the air, he's got a little bit of a lull for a couple minutes, which is a good thing. And he's kind enough to join me for a couple moments. This edition of Overseas Dimes. Tony, appreciate it, brother. How are you?
I'm good, Rich. Like I told you, I'm kind of off dad time right now for a little bit, talking basketball. Who doesn't love that? But thanks for having me on. I really appreciate,
No,
having
no,
sure.
right back at you, man. I definitely appreciate you making some time. So, we were talking a little bit prior too, and you're well traveled, as I like to say. At the end of the day, when we're talking about athletes and guys playing basketball and guys just basically trying to build up the body of the work and the resume, you played 8 years, two-time overseas MVP and champ. You were D1, Alcorn State, Eastern Orange University graduate. You're born in Vegas, Nevada. So I like to kind of start as we kind of work our way back. I typically like to do with the guest. Do you recall how old you are when you decided, hey, I'm going to pick up the ball and this is something I like to do?
Yeah, it's always it's always kind of great to tell this story now that I get older because now I'm 35 this year, so it's been 30 years. But I was 5 years old and I was watching, what I didn't know was basketball at the time, but I was watching something on TV and I kind of saw this bald guy with number 23 on and he was just showing out, like I just saw people loved him and it was pointed out that I was wearing his shoes. I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know," and so after that I started trying to duplicate everything and that's Mike Jordan, like anybody in my age bracket probably grew up you know, at least being inspired by Mike. So 5 years old is when I first actually was like, hey, I wanna be. I mean, cliche, super cliche to say, but I want to be like
Like
Mike.
Mike.
Yeah, so that was it. So about 5 years old.
And then, obviously you played in high school. College wise, did you have a lot of opportunities? Did you get a lot of phone calls? Did you have to push and promote yourself? Think about it. Back in the day,
Yeah.
uh, we were almost lucky if guys were coming out watching our games or sports or trying to recruit us. And some players go to JUCO, some
Mhm.
players, start JUCO, they take a year off, then they get to that 4 year university. They bounce around a little bit. Kind of walk me through that after high school.
Well, like so I said I started playing at 5, but I really didn't start playing like seriously until like I didn't play AAU basketball until I was a junior after my junior season of high school, which is, I always say I got blessed and got lucky, to even go D1 with 1 year of AAU experience. But
Wow, that's
like
rare.
yeah, and that's it's super rare. I didn't take basketball serious until I was about 14, 15 years old, going into my freshman year of high school. So I didn't really play a lot. Like I mean, me and my brother, we played in a fantasy land outside my grandma's house playing basketball, like I spent a lot of time outdoors just playing. Like that's where my love was. And so, like, by the time I was getting recruited, with 1 year of AAU, I wasn't getting a lot of looks. I ended up with Alcorn State was the first school that actually offered me, and they offered me pretty late. It was late April, and to be honest, like I had a couple other D1 schools that were interested in me that were a lot closer, but I was kind of feeling the pressure of, hey man, graduation is like 5 weeks away, and hey man, full ride scholarship is how am I going to turn it? I didn't have anything, so I could have waited. I mean, there's so many different paths, like you say you could take, you can look back, but like I appreciate my journey. I appreciate the time I spent, at Alcorn State and going through that, like, and when I say through that, like, that decision from high school to college is hard, and
Of
I'm
course.
seeing it now, helping young men and women make those decisions because, like, when you're young, you don't know, like, the decision you're making, you don't know how it's going to shape your life. So, like, for me, I wasn't like a heavily recruited kid. Like, I just kind of went out, I did the work. I had good numbers, good enough numbers to get a D1 attention. So um, it's not everybody's journey is different. Like senior year was stressful for me. I went through the whole year. I didn't know where I was going to go to school, and that's the number one question you get asked: where are you going to go to college? Where are you going to go to college? Where are you going to go to college? So um, that transition and that journey is something that I'm grateful I went through it because now it's easier for me to help kids, kind of navigate it because I've been in their spot before.
Well, you're right. I mean, listen, when we're 18 and 19, we know everything. We don't think
Yeah.
about certain things, 10, 15, 20 years from now, from that point, so to speak. And, if we're lucky enough, sometimes we have someone a little elder, maybe a parent, a mom and dad, an aunt and uncle, and they basically kind of pull us aside and, kind of remind us, you don't know anything,
I
right?
don't know
So
anything.
it's like,
And
you
even,
know,
I mean, I know for me, like I had people in my corner that, like really, help guide me. But I was also, like you said, you're 18, 19, you think you know everything, you really don't know anything. And I still made my own decisions. I still was like, nope, I'm doing this. I don't care. You know, I'm a man,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
a young man, so um, yeah, that time period helped me now for sure as a coach, helping the young kids and even like helping the guys overseas and stuff like that. So that was a journey that I'm grateful that I went through for sure.
Alcorn State, HBCU, Steve McNair, right? So,
Yes, sir. You know what's crazy? This would be I guess, a crazy story, but like my first weekend, I went down there in the summer for summer school, and
okay.
that weekend was when he got murdered. So
Wow.
yes, and so it was like the biggest. Obviously, he's the greatest athlete to ever play there.
Sure,
And
he was a hell of a quarterback. Yeah, that was a horrible story. I remember
yeah,
that vividly.
story. It was kind of like a tragedy that nobody wanted to believe. But then kind of like you get to a point where it's like the celebration of his life and what he had done was kind of crazy. I mean, it was crazy to see. Like being down there. Obviously the football program. They did him right, and kind of celebrating him. But that was a crazy, because that was part of the allure and the draw there. And then it's like,
Yeah.
man, this happened to this legend, So um, yeah, shout out to Steve McNair and his family, man. You know, I,
What, after college, did you give any more thought to, okay, do I go out, get a job? Do I want to play in the States?
yeah.
Hey, what kind of entice you? Yeah, maybe I'll give overseas a try. Here's an
Well,
opportunity.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I started watching basketball when I was 5, and to be honest, I've always kind of been like a visionary type person. Like, I got journals since I was young, like where I was writing, my career out. Like I'm gonna be an all league player in high school. I'm gonna win state titles. My dream school was North Carolina. I'm gonna go to college for 2 years, and I'm gonna go to the NBA. So like I never thought about playing or doing anything but basketball, and that's kind of a gift and a curse because if you go all in, and this would be my message to any young kids, you got to go all in. And it's scary, because and you asking me that, it's like I didn't think about doing nothing else. I was like, my dream was still to go to the NBA, like after college. I transferred to Eastern Oregon University and I played there for 2 years, had a great career there. I was, we won conference. I was all league player, so it was kind of like the transition to go to the next level was really a no brainer for me. But I got injured my first, tryout outside of my senior season. So it kind of gave me a different perspective on like, damn, this could really be over quick, like, so I took care of my body a lot more. And then like, I went into like business thinking, because like when I was trying to pursue basketball and as far as doing tryouts and traveling to camps and do stuff like that, I had to do work, like I had my own like marketing company, like when I first kind of started out of college. So I was kind of trying to, like social media ads and all that stuff, which has helped me to this day. But like I was doing Uber, DoorDash. I was a referee. I was doing anything I could to make some extra money just so I can be flexible, so I can chase my dream. Like I was actually just telling one of my coaches that who's kind of going through a similar thing as me right now. Like, hey, I did this. I didn't play my first overseas game till I was like 26 or 27. You know,
Wow.
so I graduated college at 23, and so I
Okay.
went through a like I played my first technical pro season was in the States. So like I went through a 3-year period where I was just I probably spent 20, 30 thousand dollars going to camps, traveling, just trying to make a team, and then constantly, honestly, being told no or making it. Like the furthest, like I got to a training camp at the Tex with the Texas Legends, who were in the D League at the time, and that was kind of like the last thing for me where I'm like, hey man, I've been doing this. Like, if I can't crack through, I'm either gonna have to retire or I'm gonna have to just try this on my own and see what I can do, because I pretty much, like I said, I went all in. I was realistic with myself. I knew when I played well at tryouts. I knew when I was given a fair chance. And like I said, like I had heard enough from basketball people to know I was a good player. I just needed to put myself in a good spot. And so
Yeah.
that's when we decided to really start the team. Me and my guy Kevin Clark, we started the team in Las Vegas. It was originally called Las Vegas Unknown, and then we took a team to England, and I mean the rest was literally, as they say, history. Like 10 years later, we're kind of where we are now.
A couple things that stood out that you and resonate. I mean, it just resonates me from what I do with the broadcasting and um, the play by play and blow by blow with combat sports and doing it for well over 20 plus years. You're right. You have to have that hard conversation, that courageous conversation where you start to get to a point and you're like, all right, you know, am I going all in? Because if I'm going all in, I am all
Yeah,
in all the
yeah,
time. And then the reality starts to set in, like you said, okay, well, I got to get that 9 to 5. I got to pay bills. But I can still go all in, but it's got to be almost on the side. Like I got to figure out a way to balance everything. And the other thing that resonated with me too is, when you were mentioning, yeah, I'm getting some of these looks. Everyone's telling me I'm a good player, but I can't crack through, right? And timing is everything in life. It's almost as though I hate to say it, when someone says, it's all politics, that is every single
well,
thing in
yes,
life. At the end of the day, someone's like, yeah, I like Tony. He's a good player. Yeah, he plays off the board. He's got a nice shot. He can drive the basket. Yeah, let's sign him. Or yeah, nah, I don't like him. He rubs me the wrong way because I think he dropped 35 on one of my kids or one of my
yeah,
guys.
that happens. That happens. I literally couldn't get a contract. Like most of the teams wouldn't offer me because as the longer I got out of college was the more years I was sitting a season. And then another reason why I never had an agent, so I was always speaking for myself. And
Which is
so
a tough sell.
it's a tough sell because I'm biased, but I mean, I
Of
no matter
course.
how much truth I'm telling, I'm biased. So
Yeah,
like I always like I take again, every journey that I've been through, I'm grateful for because to get to basically an NBA G League training camp with no agent, you're just working yourself, you work yourself in the door. And I always say, like, I mean, I maximized what I could because I went all in, and
yeah,
it's not easy, man, because like it sounds like you've gone through it where it's like there's nights where you're like, I can't do this, where you're mentally tapped out, financially could be tapped out. Like there were so many things that, I could have gave up a long time ago.
right.
I could have, but I made that decision when I was in college that I was going to go all in, like as long as my body could do it, like I was going to go all in. And like, ironically, my body fell apart. I don't want to say fell apart first, but I had meniscus surgery. So that woke me up, that kind of like, it turned me into a different athlete, which was better for me because I feel like I became a more athletic player. And then I kept learning the game. And so the good thing about it was time, because I'm grateful I had that time because I learned business, because I was in business. I was doing a
Right.
lot of business things to try to, make money, or just try to stay afloat. And I learned all that by the time I even got overseas, I was like, well, this is not how this should be, or this is like you can make more money as an owner or having your own team than as a player, and I don't have to play as much,
Right.
so
Right.
I'm grateful, like that 20, $30,000 I spent in traveling and being told no was I say it was a good investment, because
How was your business education?
yeah, that was it, and
Yeah.
so I got to, and it's hard, man. It's hard. I was traveling to, and this was the thing. I was traveling in the states, so I was going to Dallas, Los Angeles. I was in Dallas so much, like, because that was a hub for all the tournament or all the showcases. Obviously, they have some in Vegas. I was with a semi-pro team in Florida for a while, So I did so much traveling and just meeting people and learning. And literally, the first time I went overseas, I got an offer. The first time, first tournament, and it just made me say, not that I wasted those years, but it's like, well, I always use this analogy to people now. If you want a job at the bank, would you interview at McDonald's? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So if you anybody listen out there, if you want to go overseas, go directly to the source. There's literally, I think it's three easy ways. It's kind of, you know, you got to do a pro showcase in the country. You got to do a direct tryout with the team. And honestly, those are, to me personally, with my own experience, those are the two best ways. Or you just have to have an agent that could put you, you know, in a really good spot. But how many guys? I mean, there's so many good basketball players. Like, to be honest, the older I got, I realized like I'm a one of one. Like I'm a one of one for myself, but I'm a dime a dozen. I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
6'2", 6'3". I'm a
Right.
guard. There's a
Right.
lot of players like myself. So what makes me different? And the older you get, you kind of let your ego go to say, okay, I'm not LeBron James, bro. Like there's one LeBron, there's one
Right.
Michael Jordan, there's one like these guys are anomalies. So you're not standing out. You just have to put yourself in better positions because there's a lot of guys that can play, but what separated me getting my opportunities to even be an owner overseas was that I just went. That was it. That was literally
Boots on the ground, boots on the ground, physically
exactly.
there. That's yeah.
That's literally it.
And
So
the agent thing can be a little tricky and dicey, as you know, because a
mhm,
lot of these guys, you know, they're trying to rep, but let's be honest, they're skinning it both ways, right? The hands in the cookie jar. So sometimes a young player, that allure, that flash of having an agent, sometimes that can be detrimental. And the fact that you were starting to do the social media back in the day,
mhm,
now every player is doing a highlight reel and a couple dunks and taking a couple guys off the dribble and
yeah,
pumping in 45, and all of a sudden they think, "Hey, I'm gonna get a contract." Like, there's more to it. You have to have a body of work, and you have to present yourself a certain
yeah,
way, right?
yeah. You're basically a marketer. You're a digital marketing agency almost for yourself. So like as nobody's gonna work harder for you than you. Like I've seen guys sign more agency contracts than actual basketball contracts. Like there's an agency signing and it's like it's that doesn't mean anything.
No.
Like it's the game. I mean, there's so many layers to it. Most people don't know this, right? Agents are normally connected with coaches or GMs on the actual teams. They're mostly their agents as well. So, like you said, they're working both sides. And honestly, the players, no matter what league you're in, even in the NBA, they've had holdouts because the players normally don't get their fair share, and from the owner side of it, speaking as an owner, it's like you put a lot into this as an owner, like financially and then even everything else. So it's like 50-50 doesn't always work, like
Yeah.
in business, especially if you're the one fronting all the money. But
Yeah.
a lot of players don't understand that. They understand I love basketball and I play and I should just get paid and an agent's supposed to look out for me. It's not how it works. Like
Right.
people are doing whatever they got to do. Like basketball, honestly, overseas basketball is a cutthroat business. And it makes it hard for American players too, because you go to countries where you don't speak the same language. You aren't, you're not from there, you're
Right.
not one of them. It's like, it's,
You can be
it's,
taken advantage of. Yeah, you can
yes,
be taken
it's
advantage of, and
unfair,
yeah,
but it's reality. So
right.
one of the things, and it's hard to preach this to players, and this is the reason why I kind of wanted to get out of the overseas space because there's just not enough jobs. There, like every player thinks that, hey, I killed in, like I was that player. I killed in this showcase. I did well. Somebody signed me. You're not showcasing and trying out for a team against the group of guys you're with. You're against the world, man. Like
Right. Right.
the best players in the NBA are overseas guys right now for like 10 years,
Yeah,
and so,
that's where we're going with the draft. They're all European, they're all foreign players. I mean,
yep,
that's
yeah.
where, you mentioned you got, an overseas gig your first time over there. Where were you first to start
I
overseas your
went to
journey?
England first. We played in a pro-am tournament, World Club basketball tournament, and it was, I mean, the offer I got wasn't even in England. I just had film in an overseas gym, and so I got an offer from. Oh man, I'm aging myself right now because the country. I want to say maybe Denmark or Finland or something like that. But it was. Listen to this. It's $300. Like what am I gonna do? Like I went home. Like it wasn't something I was interested in. So like I got a better offer the next year. I went to Greece. And what country was? Again, I'm aging myself, but a lot of times I was going there and I wasn't getting offers in the country I was playing in. It was just
Int
that I was overseas and there were connections, there were people because here's the deal, guys. Yes, I went to England, but I was still messaging coaches in Finland,
mm,
Denmark. I was sending film. So when they see that, they're kind of like, "Oh, this guy's here. We could get him there." Like when I went to Greece my second year, I call it my first real contract offer because it was
right.
enough money to think about. I got offered 2,000 a month, which
Okay.
that was real money to think about for 23-year-old me, not 27-year-old me, who's kind of now I'm seeing this as a complete business because I'm like, well, you could just come over here, play well, build connections, and
Right.
and then at the time I had a business partner in Greece that like we ended up doing a 5-year run together where we were playing against professional teams. So I leaned more towards that. And that's when I went into the full ownership in a league and things like that. Just because it just made more sense, like I was older at the time. I could have taken that deal. I could have made 10-month season $20,000, but it was kind of like, well, I can exponentiate that long
Yeah.
term,
Yeah. Sure.
so that's the thing. Like play, like you have to maximize not only your time but like your resources because like I mentioned, like I went to England, I got offers in different countries. I went to Greece, got offered in different countries, and then like I was in Greece a couple other different stints, and I ended up getting offers in Greece, and because Greece is a really hard place to get an offer. Like
Okay.
like it's and when I say offer, I've only like when I say real offers, I'm talking first or second division,
Like,
and so
why is that? They don't bring in a lot of foreign players or US
well,
players, or it's just a
yeah, because
competitive.
each country is different as far as imports. So
Yeah,
Greece, at the time, I think they were only taking like one or two import players per
gotcha.
team, and so they want to spend on I'm a guard. Most of the times, they want to spend on a big guy or a
Big
forward.
guy.
So,
Mm,
um, and a lot of time, like Greece, a lot of their Division One teams will play against like EuroLeague teams because they have some of the. I think I can't pronounce the name Pathionakis or I'm butchering the name right now. My Greek family, please don't kill me, but um,
they got
like
some serious players in
they have
town.
some serious teams there that they want to compete against, and then also like, just factoring a lot of things. When you get guys from America, you want to get you the first guys you're looking at are NBA. You got to have NBA attached to their name, whether it's the NBA or the G League. So Greece is really, really tough because I mean, they're really high level basketball. Where like a place like Spain, Germany, it's easier to get there because they have so many different tiers and leagues. Um, because in Greece, you can only play as an import in the first two divisions, and this was a
Gotcha.
couple years ago.
Right,
So
right, right,
I don't know how it is now. I mean, I haven't been to Greece in three
right.
years, so but like in Spain, you can play as an import in like seven leagues. Same thing in
So you
Germany.
can stay, you can get
So
your visa, stay for a season, sign on with another league, stay for another 3 months, sign on. So you're
yeah,
year round basically.
you're year round. So like, and the thing is too, like being an import player, I mean, it's tougher for the team because they have to pay so much just to,
For
you got to get a work visa.
Yep,
They got to give you a job. Like they are
yep,
paying you and they got to pay tax. So like Greece is harder because you got two divisions to play in. Where in like Spain, I think you have seven or maybe five. Germany has like seven. So it's so many different variables. Like when we went to Sweden the last year I was there, they only take players in maybe the first division. And they were trying to open up the second division because of our partnership, but it probably didn't open up the way they wanted. They ended up taking a player that we had, but he was I think they tried to count him as an import somehow, some way. They figured it out, but I mean, it's just hard. It's not as simple as I'm a good basketball player. Sign me.
right.
You
What
know?
was your game more predicated for overseas?
To be honest, no. Honestly, I feel like I transitioned when I was trying to play there. Like I feel like I always say this. I feel like I was 3 years too late for like the typical like all the American point guards now that we know that are great,
Yeah,
Steph, Russ,
yeah.
Dame, they're all two guards to me,
Right,
right?
right.
When like even Steph in college, he was a two guard. So I was a couple years too late to be like an NBA score first point guard, basically. NBA level talent wise, G League, overseas. But like I had to transition my game a lot to overseas because as I got into it, I realized, okay, maybe this is why I wasn't getting chosen for some of the opportunities in the States because I was a ball dominant player. I'm watching American basketball, like I'm
Right.
playing
You're
like
not dish off
a
first. You're score
so
first. Yeah,
exactly. So by the time I got overseas, like one of the things that, and this is a small reason, right? But one of the reasons why, like when I was 27, like when I between 27 and 31, I probably got like 10 overseas offers, right? And a reason why I did not want to take a lot of the offers, one, I knew I could make more money as owner, which I was already doing. So I was fine with that. But then playing style, like being adaptable and then not being able to like I knew I could play the European style because I was learning it, but like it takes a lot of patience and you got to really like if you're all in and I knew at that point I wasn't all in on another team. I wasn't
gotcha.
all in another I can't I'm still unknown. Like it doesn't matter if I'm with your team like I'm still
Right,
promoting my brand like because at the end of the day, this is our business. Mine and the team would be transactional. So, like, I knew like playing the European style. I actually love it, because it helps me teach. It's better
yeah,
for basketball. I feel like Americans, like, I feel like we still have the best players, but I don't think we have the most skilled players or the most high IQ players all the time, and it's going to be shown. I feel like in the next couple Olympic runs, like I'm excited to see what it looks like when we don't have LeBron, KD,
right,
Steph
right.
at the top level. But as far as like basketball wise, um, as a player, I didn't. I mean, that's probably why I didn't get an offer until I went overseas because I was ready to play in that style. Like when I got over there, I adjusted pretty quick, and you kind of still have to mix your game with theirs because you're an American. They're gonna want you to
That's
score.
right.
Trust
Yep.
me. But you gotta figure out it's almost like reliving college. You gotta figure out a way to score within the system,
Yeah.
So that's it,
Yeah,
honestly. And
that's where the challenge is, and it's funny you mentioned the
yeah,
transactional thing, kind of, what James Harden said the other day about loyalty in the
yep,
NBA, right? I mean,
yep,
everything's a transaction at the end of the day, and look, the game itself, NBA-wise, we know it's pick and roll ISO, it's matador defense, it's just how it is, um, the one thing I've noticed too with calling these games overseas and seeing a different style with some of these leagues, there's no Velcro hands, right? I mean, depending upon
Yeah.
what league you're watching or in what country, the ball's not really touching the floor at times. So I know
Yeah.
for some people they like it, for some people they don't. I did want to ask you um, before I let you get out of here, talk to me a little bit about Unknown International BC.
I mean, so much busyness right now in my life. So, like our club, we're in our 10th year. We started this as kind of like well, one, it started as a chance for me, myself to get overseas and kind of, get an opportunity, but also opening up that gate for um, other players. Like if I could do it all over again, I would do a 360. I would probably coach kids first and then, help guys go overseas. But the playing is something that, I call myself semi retired right now, because if the right opportunity comes, I'm going to pull a Mike Jordan and just post I'm back. But like playing is my core, that's my therapy. That's been my life for a long time, like, and I still enjoy, like, I'm in the gym now, I just enjoy being in the gym as a gym rat. But like our international basketball club, Unknown International Basketball Club, we're kind of like we're building it as a pipeline, where you basically, you start in our what we call junior UBA, Unknown Basketball Academy. You'll start there through training, working on your skill work, not a heavy game focus type deal. Then you have our AAU program, Columbia Unknown, which is kind of local focus, skill development, in game development. And then we just started. We actually just we have a partnership with Puma now.
Nice.
We're doing the Puma Next Pro circuit with our UBA Select team. So this will be our first year doing that. That's kind of got all my attention right now. But that's going to help us build our pipeline to get our kids to college. Um, and then we obviously we've built our college pipeline over the last year or so to be able to. Oh, we've really had our pipeline for a few years, but we've built it so we're able to have our kids, go through our program to figure out that transition. And then we still have our pro am team, which we run it under Unknown International, to be able to give guys opportunities to play overseas. Right now, we're kind of just, you know, I guess a feeder into a
Yep.
lot of,
Yep.
like the Thailand Titans,
Yep. Yep.
just kind of, hey man, we got this opportunity. Are you interested? We're kind of just a support. But I think we're entering our information phase of basketball. And when I say that, it's kind of like giving information about college, professional, even AAU, because that's what's missing. Like the skill work is one thing and getting better, but information is really, really missing. So we're kind of, I mean, we're really turning into that type of platform overall, but basketball is still going to be the core always. So,
If listeners out there and players alike and younger players, if they want to get a little more information, social media, anything you want to push as far as IG or X or Facebook or sites, any contact where they can kind of follow the journey and maybe get more information.
yeah, so our website is unknownbasketball.com. That's our hub for everything, our pro am team, our training, our AAU stuff. And then on Instagram, it's at unknown IBC. That's our main hub. And from there, you can kind of find all of our other pages, like our AAU, Columbia Unknown. We have our sports collective, which is like our media platform we're kind of building.
Nice.
And then we have, what is our other, uh, UBA Tricities.
Okay.
UBA Tricities, that's our gym facility. Um, we're actually, this is our first year. I mean, having the gym, this is going to be our first full season. So we just got, you got pictures on the wall that you'll see. This is kind of like, we have our basketball journey in the gym. So this is kind of like our headquarters, like we got banners and stuff up to kind of celebrate what we've accomplished. But yeah, hopefully the audience and everybody can keep up with us. This is year 10, so you'll probably get a lot of history. A lot of history of what we're doing now and what we're going to do going forward. So um, I'm pretty excited about what's next and celebrating what we've been doing.
Yeah, obviously my, rescue sound a little excited too because she just had a little yelp out there. But listen, I greatly appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
It'll be interesting to see if, you get that call, right? And maybe you still got those juices going and you figure out a way,
I
uh,
know.
right? And that's always gonna be that tough decision in that rub because I'm sure you're excited about it, but maybe you might be dreading it, but you never know. It could always be that,
Yeah.
you know, that blessing in disguise, but,
Gotta stay
can't
ready so you don't gotta get ready.
Hey,
So,
hey, that's I mean, it's, at the end of the day, it's just, preparation is the key with everything, right? You get that call, you get that passport ready, you're stamped, you're on a plane, and you're ready to go, and,
yes,
you're
sir.
dropping 35 as soon as you get off the plane, with 10 assists, by the way, right?
Yes,
You gotta
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah, you
Let
gotta
me get those 10 boards too, man. Let's just get
yeah,
a
there
triple.
you go. Get that triple double. You got to distribute it too. But great stuff, Tony. I can't thank you enough. I know you're very busy, but as we like to say, I appreciate you taking a couple moments, run the floor with me on this edition of Overseas Dimes.
No problem, Rich. Thanks for having me.